Ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated and terrified by the concept of the sideshow. I wanted the mermaid lady to be real. I wanted to see the bearded lady. I wanted to meet Lionel the Lion Boy. Sideshows, or as people call them, freak shows, were popular entertainment throughout history. During that time, people with rare conditions or weird looks earn a living by traveling and putting themselves on display. And today, we'll look at the most unusual ones that really existed. So, let's begin this countdown with number 15, the Lobster Boy. As shocking as his appearance is, Grady Stiles' real-life story is even more shocking. Stiles' condition was known as ectrodactyly, which causes hands and feet to fuse into claws. The condition ran in Stiles' family. In fact, he was the 6th generation in his family to have it. His dad was already performing in the circus when Grady was born, so he entered circus life early as the Lobster Boy. In his adult years, Stiles became an abusive alcoholic. He actually murdered his daughter's fiancé on the eve of their wedding in 1978. After pleading guilty to third-degree murder, he was sentenced to 15 years of probation because there were no prisons capable of caring for someone with his condition. In 1992, a nearly karmic turn of events took place as his own wife and son from a previous marriage hired yet another sideshow performer to murder him. Stiles was shot in the back of the head 3 times while watching television. Number 14, General Tom Thumb. Charles Sherwood Stratton was a relative of Barnum and one of his greatest discoveries. When Barnum learned about Stratton's dwarfism, he saw potential beyond pity. He took the young boy under his care and taught him to sing, dance, and imitate famous historical figures. At just 5 years old, Stratton was introduced to the world as General Tom Thumb, though Barnum claimed he was 11 to make his tiny size seem even more extraordinary. Stratton went on to perform for 40 years, touring internationally and captivating audiences everywhere. His fame grew so immense that he met both Queen Victoria and President Abraham Lincoln. Over his lifetime, he amassed a fortune worth millions in today's money and even rescued Barnum's circus financially when it faced collapse. Despite being exhibited for his size, Stratton controlled his career, married fellow performer Lavinia Warren, and earned global respect. He died in 1883, remembered not just as a freak, but as one of history's most successful showmen. Number 13, Chau-U-Kao. Chau-U-Kao didn't follow the rules of the stage. She danced sideways through them. A French acrobat, gymnast, and clown in the 1890s, she made her mark not just with somersaults and slapstick, but by daring to become a female clown in a world that barely allowed women to exist on stage. She performed at the Moulin Rouge and the Nouveau Cirque, often in a black and yellow outfit, with her hair twisted high and a posture that never asked for approval. The name Chau-U-Kao came from a wild French dance, chaos and noise, basically, and that spirit fit her perfectly. Artist Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec became fascinated by her, sketching her again and again, often alongside her lover, Gabriel the dancer. Through his art, she's been preserved, bold, unapologetic, and striking. We don't know much about her life beyond those stages and paintings. Her real name is lost, but Cha made the clown her own, and in doing so, carved out a space for queerness, femininity, and freedom in a spotlight that rarely welcomed any of it. Number 12, Rosetta Salomon Swaab. Rosetta Salomon Swaab wasn't just a circus performer, she ran the entire show. She was born in 1759 in the Netherlands and built her career alongside her husband, Lion Kinsbergen, a tightrope walker and equestrian. Together, they toured the country, performing on horseback and high wires under their own banner. Their circus became one of the most well-known traveling acts in the Netherlands, with a home base in Amsterdam, but fans nationwide. After Lion's death in 1813, Rosetta didn't fold the company. She took over. As one of the few women in Europe managing a full circus in the early 19th century, She handled both the logistics and the artistry, keeping the show running and profitable. She continued performing as a tightrope walker and equestrian while overseeing operations behind the scenes. Rosetta wasn't just a partner, she was a powerhouse in her own right. While her name isn't as widely known today, in her time, she stood out as both a star performer and a rare female leader in the circus world. Number 11. The Elephant Man. Joseph Merrick, often misremembered as John, became one of the most recognizable figures in sideshow history, not because of a single condition, but a complex combination. He's long been linked to Proteus syndrome or neurofibromatosis, but his exact diagnosis remains debated. Born in Leicester, England in 1862, Merrick's body began growing tumors and bony deformities early in childhood. His head swelled disproportionately. His skin thickened. One arm became useless. Work was impossible. With no real options, he joined a traveling sideshow in his 20s. The manager stole most of his earnings and eventually abandoned him in Belgium. Penniless, Merrick returned to London and was taken in by the London Hospital, where he spent his final years as a resident. Though exhibited in life, Merrick was treated with dignity in death. He formed friendships, including with royalty. Princess Alexandra visited him personally. In 1890, he died from asphyxia, likely caused by the weight of his own skull. His story remains one of tragedy, resilience, and humanity beneath deformity. So, what do you think about him? Number 10. Charles Blondin. If you've ever heard of a daredevil walking a tightrope over Niagara Falls, you were probably hearing about Charles. Born Jean-François Gravelet in 1824, he turned a child's obsession with balance into a global obsession with watching him defy gravity. His rope walk across the 1,100-foot Niagara Gorge in 1859 wasn't a one-off. It became his canvas. He crossed blindfolded, backward, pushing a wheelbarrow, even cooking an omelet midway. Once, he carried his manager across on his back. He didn't chase danger for drama, he practiced it until it looked effortless. He wasn't without controversy. A performance in Dublin ended in tragedy when a snapped rope killed 2 stagehands. Still, he toured into his 70s, performing across Europe and Britain. At 71, he was still tightrope walking over lakes. Blondin died in 1897, but his name became shorthand for balance, risk, and control. So much so that even Lincoln used him as a metaphor during a campaign speech. He didn't just cross the rope, he owned it. Number 9. Rosalia Price. When Rosalia landed in Stockholm in 1787 with her husband and brother-in-law, the circus didn't even exist in Scandinavia, not formally. That changed fast. Together, they launched the first proper circus in Sweden, combining equestrian acts, pantomime, and raw acrobatics under one roof. Rosalia wasn't just a performer, she was the star. Audiences came for her horse routines, and her name usually topped the posters. She wasn't above taking charge either. During one failed show in Gothenburg, she threatened the heckling crowd with a whip and pistol, turning boos into cheers. Circus, for her, wasn't glamour. It was survival. After her husband died in 1790, she remarried another horse acrobat and moved to Vienna. But by then, her mark was made. In a time when most performers faded into anonymity, Rosalia didn't just help bring circus to Scandinavia. She defined its tone. She rode, she commanded, she owned her spotlight. Long before the word headliner meant anything, Rosalia was already filling the role. Number 8. Margherita Dalmet. Margherita's life was anything but ordinary. Born in Constantinople in 1739, she performed as a tightrope dancer before catching the eye of Venetian diplomat Paolo Renier. When he became Doge of Venice in 1779, Margherita became Dogaressa, a title the aristocracy never accepted. She was mocked as La Falsa Dogaressa, ridiculed for her common background and circus past. She avoided most public ceremonies, leaving the formal duties to her husband's niece. But Margherita didn't fade quietly. She rented out space along Venetian bridges for artists' stalls, and even faced public trial for financial fraud, witnessed by Goethe himself. Rumors swirled that she hated the sound of church bells so much that Renier paid a convent to keep quiet. After the Doge's death, she married again, this time to Venetian nobleman Federico Bonlini, and was once more denied entry into the Golden Book of Aristocracy. Sadly, Margherita died in 1817. Number 7. Admiral Dot. Long before reality shows or internet fame, Dot built a life out of pure charisma. Born Leopold Kahn in 1859, he was discovered by P.T. Barnum in San Francisco at just 9 years old. Barnum, always looking for someone to outshine Tom Thumb, immediately dubbed him Admiral Dot and sent him on tour. But Dot didn't fade after a few seasons. He kept performing, even joining rival circuses like Adam Fourpaws. He married Lottie Swartwood, also a little person, and together they ran a hotel in White Plains. Locals knew it as the Admiral Dot Hotel, though it was more personal landmark than a tourist trap. In the end, it wasn't a tragic finale that defined him, it was endurance. He survived fire, fame, and the fading of the freak show era. He died during the 1918 flu pandemic, along with his daughter, but his name still turns up in circus lore. Number 6. Angelo Rossitto. Angelo Rossitto was never interested in being a sideshow act. He built an entire film career instead. Born in 1908 in Omaha, he grew up with dwarfism and stood just under 3 feet tall. But Hollywood noticed him early. His first role came in 1927, playing opposite John Barrymore in the beloved Rogue. After that, he just kept going, appearing in over 70 films across 6 decades. You've seen him, even if you didn't realize it. He was in Freaks, Dracula vs. Frankenstein, The Corpse Vanishes, and even Mad Max, Beyond Thunderdome as Master. Between roles, he ran a newsstand in Los Angeles. He never campaigned for fame. He just worked, quietly, consistently, and always on his terms. Rossitto played creatures, villains, comic relief, but he was never one note. He had charm, timing, and presence. While others from the Freaks cast disappeared from view, Rossitto kept showing up. He wasn't part of a revival, he was a constant. A worker, a face, and a legacy that stretched half a century. Number 5. The Oklahoma Mannequin Mummy. Before dying, Elmer McCurdy was a failed outlaw. After death, he became a freak show legend. In 1911, after botching a train robbery, McCurdy was killed in a shootout with lawmen. No one claimed the body. But then, the Undertaker embalmed it with arsenic and stood it up for display, charging a nickel to see the bandit who wouldn't give up. 5 years later, a traveling promoter posed as McCurdy's relative and stole the corpse. For the next 60 years, it was passed through sideshows, wax exhibits, and haunted houses. Eventually, people forgot he was real. That changed in 1976, when a film crew accidentally snapped off an arm while filming at an amusement park. Inside were bone and muscle. In his mouth, they found a 1924 museum ticket. Authorities traced the body back. McCurdy was finally buried properly in Oklahoma, under 2 feet of concrete to stop further disturbances. He failed as a criminal, but as a sideshow attraction, Elmer McCurdy was disturbingly unforgettable. Now let's head over to number 4, the human skeleton. Isaac Sprague was born in 1841 in Massachusetts and had a completely normal childhood until age 12. That's when his muscles started to waste away. His appetite remained healthy, but no matter how much he ate, his body deteriorated. Doctors now believe it was a severe form of muscular atrophy. By age 24, Sprague could no longer hold a regular job. So he joined P.T. Barnum's circus as the human skeleton. Measured at 5 feet 6 and weighing just 43 pounds, his appearance was both shocking and sorrowful. Sprague's condition left him constantly weak, but he still toured regularly, often alongside other emaciated performers. He carried bottles of milk around with him, drinking constantly to stay upright. Despite his fame, he died nearly penniless in 1887 from asphyxia, likely caused by the same condition that consumed his body for decades. His life wasn't glamorous, but in a time when medical understanding was limited and freak shows were thriving, Isaac Sprague's skeletal frame became one of Barnum's most haunting attractions. He was just one of the many skeleton guys. Number 3. Lionel the Lion-Faced Man. Stefan Bobrowski was better known to circus audiences as Lionel the Lion-Faced Man. He had hypertrichosis, a rare condition that caused hair to grow uncontrollably across his face and body, earning him comparisons to a werewolf. His mother believed the condition was caused by witnessing a lion attack while pregnant, which says a lot more about 19th century superstition than science. By age 4, she gave him up for adoption. A German showman took him in and immediately put him to work on the circus circuit. Audiences were stunned by his look. Thick golden hair covered everything but his palms and soles. But many came back for something else entirely: his charm. Lionel wasn't just a sideshow oddity. He was multilingual, intelligent, and endlessly patient with curious onlookers. He spoke 5 languages and was known for his calm, friendly conversations with guests. Behind the mane and myth was a kind, thoughtful man who spent decades humanizing what the crowds came to see as monstrous. Let's end this with Number 2. The Great Regurgitator. Haji Ali didn't need magic tricks. He used his own body. In the 1920s, he became the world's most famous regurgitator, performing acts that baffled scientists and stunned audiences. He'd swallow gallons of water, followed by kerosene, then spit them back in reverse order, igniting the kerosene, then extinguishing the flames with water. He could hit targets across the stage or douse props with pinpoint precision. His control wasn't luck. Ali trained his throat and stomach to act like valves, mastering the release of different substances on command. He revived an old vaudeville tradition known as water spouting, but with far more spectacle. No illusion, no sleight of hand, just intense discipline and a strange, uncomfortable talent. His performances weren't graceful. They were raw, bodily, even grotesque. But they were real. Whether it was coins, smoke, or live fish, Haji Ali could swallow it, wait, and bring it back. He was a legend. Number 1. Le Pétomane. Joseph Pujol wasn't a musician, but he had perfect control of one unusual instrument, his rectum. Known as Le Pétomane, he became a headliner in the 1890s France by voluntarily sucking air into his body and expelling it in astonishing ways. He could snuff out candles, spray water like a fountain, and mimic musical instruments, all using controlled flatulence. It wasn't crude humor. Audiences were amazed by his precision and restraint. The Moulin Rouge paid him handsomely, and he sold out night after night. Medical professionals were baffled. No one fully understood how he managed such exact control over abdominal muscles. When he died in 1945, researchers begged his family to let them study his body. They refused. His secret went with him. Le Pétomane didn't rely on props or illusions. He didn't even speak on stage. It was a silent act built entirely on timing, physiology, and sheer nerve. In a world obsessed with novelty, he carved out a career nobody could imitate, and nobody ever truly explained. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. And we'll see you soon. And we'll see you soon.